Distraction thefts are, if you're not familiar with them, they're things that we've been dealing with for quite some time in the city, and every once in a while they pop up and become more problematic. We recently had one in an East Vancouver neighborhood where a 77-year-old woman was minding her own business, gardening in her backyard, and she was approached by a couple of people who drove up in an SUV, and a female suspect got out of the SUV and approached this elderly woman in her yard, and despite the victim protesting and telling the person to go away, the suspect tried to put some jewelry on her with costume jewelry, shoved some jewelry onto her hands, into her hands, and in the process we believe that the suspect was able to remove a gold bracelet from the victim's wrist. The victim didn't realize this until sometime later when a family member returned home and had a conversation with her family member, and it became apparent that this is exactly what had happened. So this is a concern for us. It happens every once in a while in the city, and we want people to know that it is happening, to call us if it does happen, and take some steps to safeguard against being victimized. These are the people who do distraction thefts are sly, they're sneaky. The way they find success is by kind of overwhelming their victims and confusing them. And typically what will happen is they will approach somebody in a public place with some jewelry and confront them and try to get them to wear the jewelry, whether putting the jewelry on their head or slipping it over their neck or onto their wrists. And in the process of doing that, they will very subtly remove a piece of valuable jewelry that's on the victim's body, whether it's a ring or a bracelet or a necklace. And typically what happens is before the victim realizes that this has happened, the suspects are long gone. So we want to remind people to just beware that that's happening. To call us right away if you're approached by anybody who appears to be involved in a distraction theft, and report it to us. Or if anybody has any information about this particular incident, to give us a call. I'm just going to give you a little bit more information about what did happen this past weekend. It occurred on July 20th around 11 a.m. It was in the city's Cedar Cottage neighborhood, roughly in the area of Grandview and Renfrew Street. As I said, the victim was she's an elderly woman. She's gardening in her backyard, and a couple of people show up in an SUV. A woman gets out of the SUV and approaches the woman in her backyard with some jewelry and tries to get the victim to put on the jewelry. The victim does the right thing and says, "No, please leave. I don't want to have anything to do with you. Get away." But during the confusion and the confrontation, the suspect was able to take a bracelet off of the victim's hand. The suspects in this case were driving a dark-colored four-door SUV. The female suspect was between 35 and 45 years old. She was about 5'3" and had brown shoulder-length hair and olive skin. She wore a dark floral-patterned dress and had bright red nail polish. Her male accomplice, we believe, remained in the vehicle, described as a male who appeared South Asian, with darker skin, had a black baseball cap on, and a polo shirt. Detectives from our major crime section are now investigating this and want to speak to anybody who has any information.